They piece together a timeline, identifying potential locations where Ellie might have gone and people she might have turned to for help. Mercer feels the weight of the years pressing down on him, the guilt of not having pursued every lead with the fervor it deserved. Each new piece of evidence feels like a step closer to redemption, but also a reminder of his failure to protect Ellie when it mattered most. Determined to make progress, Mercer reaches out to Ellie's old friends, hoping to uncover more about her life leading up to her disappearance. They recall a girl who was bright, full of dreams, but who had recently grown withdrawn and anxious. Some mention a boy she had been seeing, a relationship that had been kept secret, which raises further questions. Mercer wonders if this boy could have played a role in her decision to leave home, or if he was simply another victim of the chaos surrounding her life. As days turn into weeks, Mercer immerses himself in the investigation, often working late into the night. The retirement party feels like a distant memory, a celebration that now seems hollow compared to the urgency of finding answers. He and Davis delve into social media archives, looking for any trace of Ellie's friends or acquaintances who might have crossed paths with her in the months leading up to her disappearance. They find snippets of conversations, vague references to parties, and whispers of secrets kept among high school friends. One evening, as Mercer sifts through old newspaper clippings, he stumbles upon an article about a local charity event that Ellie had planned to attend just days before she vanished. The event was organized by a community center that had been a safe haven for many troubled teens. Mercer feels a spark of hope. Perhaps someone there might have seen Ellie, or at least heard something that could lead to a breakthrough. He and Davis visit the community center, where they meet with the director, a woman named Clara, who remembers Ellie vividly. Clara describes her as a kind-hearted girl who often volunteered to help younger children in the program. She mentions that Ellie had confided in her about feeling trapped at home, hinting at a strained relationship with her father. Clara's recollections resonate with Mercer, echoing the signs of abuse he had uncovered. As they dig deeper, Clara reveals that Ellie had been particularly close to a girl named Sarah, who had moved away shortly before Ellie's disappearance. Mercer feels a pang of urgency. He needs to find Sarah. After some investigation, they track her down to a small town several hours away. When Mercer and Davis finally meet Sarah, they are met with a mix of nostalgia and pain. Sarah is hesitant at first, but soon the memories come flooding back. In a quiet cafe, Sarah shares her experiences. She recalls the last time she saw Ellie, how her friend had been anxious and fearful, mentioning things that made her uncomfortable at home. Sarah's eyes fill with tears as she recounts a conversation where Ellie had expressed a desire to escape her situation, to find a way out. Mercer feels a knot tighten in his stomach. He realizes they are getting closer to the truth, but the truth is becoming increasingly dark. As they piece together Ellie's last days, they learn about a planned trip to a nearby lake, a place where Ellie had hoped to find solace. With this new lead, Mercer and Davis decide to search the area, hoping to uncover any clues that might have been overlooked. They scour the shoreline, combing through the underbrush, their hearts racing with anticipation. After hours of searching, Mercer notices something unusual. A small weathered bracelet caught in the roots of a tree. As he carefully extracts it, he recognizes it immediately as Ellie's. The discovery sends chills down his spine. It's a tangible connection to the girl he had failed to protect. He holds it tightly, a bitter reminder of the past, but also a symbol of the hope that they might finally find answers. With renewed determination, Mercer and Davis return to Catherine, the weight of the bracelet heavy in their hands. They explain their findings, the evidence pointing to a tragic confrontation between Ellie and her father that fateful night. Catherine's reaction is a mix of anguish and relief. She had always suspected something sinister had happened, but now the reality of it is almost too much to bear. Together, they decide to confront Richard Winters, now living in a different part of town. Mercer's heart races as they approach the house, a sense of dread hanging in the air. Richard, a shadow of the man he once was, greets them with a false sense of calm. As they question him about Ellie, his demeanor shifts, revealing a defensive nature that only fuels Mercer's suspicions. Richard's denials are laced with anger, and as the confrontation escalates, Mercer feels the years of pent-up frustration boiling to the surface. He challenges Richard, confronting him with the evidence they've gathered. The man's facade begins to crack, and for a moment, Mercer sees a glimpse of the monster lurking beneath. In that moment of vulnerability, Richard's eyes dart around, as if searching for an escape. He mutters something about the past should stay buried, and Mercer's heart sinks. The implication is clear. Richard knows more than he's letting on. With the weight of the case hanging over him, Mercer realizes that this confrontation is just the beginning. He and Davis need to gather more evidence to build a case strong enough to bring Richard to justice. They delve into Richard's history, uncovering a pattern of abusive behavior that stretches back years. As they compile their findings, Mercer feels a sense of purpose rekindling within him. The case that had haunted him for decades is finally within reach, and he is determined to see it through. Not just for Ellie, but for every victim of abuse who had been silenced. Days turn into weeks as they work tirelessly, and with each new revelation, Mercer feels a sense of closure beginning to form. He reaches out to the district attorney, presenting their findings, and together, they prepare to bring Richard Winters to trial. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but for the first time in years, Mercer feels hopeful. Finally, the day of the trial arrives. The courtroom is filled with tension as Catherine takes the stand, her voice trembling but resolute as she recounts her daughter's life and the haunting memories of her disappearance. Mercer watches as the truth unravels before them, the weight of the past finally lifting. As the verdict is read, Mercer feels a rush of emotions. Justice is served, but it is bittersweet. Ellie may never return, but her story is finally being told, and her memory will live on. As the dust settles, Mercer reflects on his journey. He may have retired from the force, but he knows that his work is far from over. The case of Ellie Winters has reignited his passion, and he is determined to continue fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. With a heavy heart and a renewed sense of purpose, he steps into the future, ready to embrace whatever comes next.